We've talked about a definition of sitting and the recommendation to limit bouts of sitting to not more than 30 minutes at a time. I've shown you the evidence where you can see a mortality risk for often sitting for longer than 30 minutes. I've described the mechanism whereby we understand the harm from sitting occurs. I've provided you with tips for limiting the total duration of sitting throughout the day, as well as limiting the bouts of sitting to not more than 30 minutes at a time. Let's turn to some frequently asked questions. First question, if I go to the gym regularly, doesn't this cancel out sitting at my desk all day? Unfortunately not. The physical activity recommendations in Health Score, 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity aerobic exercise per week, and 2 sessions of strength training are vital, but they are not going to eliminate the risk from exceeding 30 minutes of sitting or exceeding 8 hours total of sitting. So it is very important for you to do aerobic exercise and strength training, but it is now appreciated that it's equally important what you do during the times you're not exercising. And standing should be your default. Next question, is lying down okay? I love this question because people are like, boy, I really see the truth in what you're saying. I really shouldn't be sitting so much, but standing hurts. And can't I just lie down? So the answer is, it's not that sitting itself is bad. It's that not using your peripheral muscles, your leg muscles, is bad. And lying down would also not use your peripheral muscles. So it would have the same harm as sitting. So you can't just lie down. I mean, unless you're sleeping. Next question is, I call this the jack-in-the-box approach. Can't I just set an alarm to go off every 30 minutes? This is a very common response. People would like to kind of limit how much standing they have to do. So if they want to kind of meet this recommendation with as little standing as possible. So the question is, can I set an alarm on my watch? When it goes off every 30 minutes, stand for a minute, sit back down. There are 2 problems with this strategy. One is that you still need your total duration of sitting for the day to be less than 8 hours. So if you're only getting up for 1 minute stand breaks every 30 minutes, you're probably going to accumulate more than 8 hours of sitting for the day. The other problem is just sustainability. It sounds like a great idea to get buzzed every 30 minutes on your watch to be told to stand, but how long do you imagine tolerating that buzzing going off on your watch? Do you think that in 5 years from now, you're going to still want to be popping up out of your chair every 30 minutes you feel that buzz, or are you going to get numb to it and just turn it off? I think it's a better approach to default to standing, not constantly be reminded and to exert an act of will to get up and stand, but to have it be your default. Question number 4. I stand up whenever my iWatch tells me. Is that enough? Unfortunately, iWatch notifications to stand occur every 50 minutes to make sure you stand every hour. And I haven't been able to figure out how to adjust the interval of when you get that alarm going off. So if you're getting the alarm from the iWatch, it's been 50 minutes, 50, that you've been sitting, and that's too long. You've already exceeded the 30-minute threshold. And a final question I get, which I didn't write here, is, but it hurts to stand. So a lot of people will complain of leg pain, back pain, and so they find it a difficulty standing. It's tiresome. What I found is initially that was the case. I wasn't used to standing, and when I made it my default, it was something I was conscious of, I was aware of. And another thing that people say is that when they're in their deep focus mode, they want to be sitting because they find it distracting to stand. So what's interesting, first of all, is that this is a transient phenomenon. It's only going to be temporary, where you're struggling to stand, where you feel the cramping in your muscles, where you feel the cramping in your back. It's because you've been sitting all these years that your body's not used to standing, that your core is weaker, your leg muscles are weaker. With prolonged standing, however, your leg muscle strengthens, your core strengthens. You're able to accommodate standing without any pain and difficulty. And the good news is that low back pain is improved with prolonged standing. Sitting puts all of the strain of the weight of the upper body onto your back. Standing allows you to distribute the weight of your upper body to your lower legs as well as your back and your core. So standing causes less back strain. And finally, the point about being able to focus when you sit. Interestingly, studies have shown that performing cognitive tests, people do better when they're standing compared to when they're sitting, and even better when they're on a treadmill desk, for example, than when they're standing. But there's strong evidence that cognitive function is better when you're standing. It's just when you start doing it first, it's something you're conscious of, and that can be distracting. But once it becomes your default and your strength improves accordingly, and you're not thinking about the fact that you're standing, your circulation to your brain improves, and you're able to think better on your feet, literally.